Hey guys, Shelby here with ShelbyJCG.com, or previously ShelbyJCGAstrology.com, till I decided to break away from the band in January and make it all about myself. Or it was because I write about things outside of astrology. But today is going to be an astrology video. I asked my friends on Snapchat and on Instagram to send me whatever questions they had pertaining to astrology. I'm not gonna be able to answer all of them that I got, but I answered, I think, kind of around the first 30 that I got, and I made sure that the questions that I'm going to be addressing in this video, pretty sure address every sign at some point. Since this video might come out to be a little bit longer than I would like to, because let's be honest here, I am a rambler like none other. I am probably going to end up writing down the questions whenever I put this video on my website, and then what time on the video it's going to be at, so that if you want to just hear an answer to that specific question or a couple specific questions, you can go to that point instead of watching the whole video. If you want to watch the whole video though, I love you and I really appreciate it. So with that said, guys, let's start with our very first question that I have. What other signs are there other than your sun sign? If you guys aren't familiar with astrology, the sign that you were born under, the one that you are probably familiar with via our super reliable magazine horoscopes, it's total sarcasm, by the way, there are other signs outside of that one sign. So again, like let's say you were born on July 5th, you are a Cancer, or you're born on January 23rd, you are an Aquarius. I was born on June 18th, I'm a Gemini. So that's your sun sign, but then think about all the other, like, you know, planets inside the solar system, except for Earth isn't considered one in astrology because I guess we are the Earth. I don't know. And things that also are not planets too, but you know, you have a moon sign, you know, you have your sun sign, then you have your Venus, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, Neptune, whatever, all of those, including Pluto, whether you want to say it's a planet or not, it is in astrology, you do have a sign in that. Then you have like other coordinates in the sky, like your north node and south node, those have signs in them as well. And then there are different types of asteroids. We have like Chiron, we have Lilith, whatever, all of those are going to have a sign as well. So yeah, if you want to say that, like, you know, you don't believe in astrology because you only know about your sun sign, I would say look into some of these other signs and see if you might match a little bit closer to one of those. So yeah. Number 2, what does it mean to have a Scorpio moon? It means that literally the moon was in the constellation of Scorpio when you were born. If you want to hear more specifically about that placement, just so I don't ramble about that one, I actually do have an article or a blog post on my website that's titled Moon and the Fixed Signs. So if your moon sign, this is not your sun sign, so I want you to, you know, if you only know your sun sign, you need to go look at your moon sign. I highly recommend cafeastrology.com. Put in all your information, find out what time you were born from your mama, just to make sure in case the moon did change on that day, because a couple other things definitely did, like your rising changes every couple of hours. Go and look at that, and then if you do happen to have a moon in Scorpio, or if you have it in another fixed sign like Taurus, Leo, like I'm a moon in Leo, or Aquarius, I would highly recommend going on that post and reading more about that specific placement. All I can say in this video about a Scorpio moon, dude, if you have that placement, I know that's a hard placement to have, so like, good for you. Good for you. Keep on keeping on. Why haven't all Gemini men been assassinated? Can we take the Gemini part out of that and just say, why haven't all men been assassinated? I feel like that's a better question, right? I'll cover some more of the Gemini hate because, trust me, we definitely get it. But I'll cover that in another question. So let's just assassinate all the men, though. Number 4, can fire signs and water signs work? So the fire signs are going to be Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Water signs are going to be Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio. Can they work? Different types of energy, to say the least, but again, there are so many more signs than just your sun sign, and when you're dealing with astrological compatibility, it is essential that you look at all those other signs. I would say your moon signs are really important with astrological compatibility. Venus, hit or miss, yes. Mars is important because that's going to be your sex drive, which, like, come on now. It is kind of important. So with that said, look at all of that, maybe do a synastry chart, which is when an astrologer will lay the signs on top of each other to look at their aspects and to see how certain things work or don't work well together. So they can work, they totally can work. And don't let astrology tell you whether or not you and the person that you care a lot about are gonna work. I mean, even I, who totally believes in astrology and has been using it, you know, for years, I would tell you, don't even, like, if it's gonna work, it's gonna work. You can definitely look at these kinds of things for guidance, but, like, yes, fire signs and water signs can work. Number 5, why do Sages have multiple sex partners? Because they're Sags. Well, just like everybody else, they can do whatever they want with their bodies, but Sag is what we call a masculine mutable sign. So if a sign is masculine, we're talking about fire and air signs. Talked about what fire signs were previously, but it's going to be Aries, Leo, Sag, and then air signs are going to be Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Masculine signs have more of a stigma, not to say that that is the case for every person, of taking their emotions out of their out of their like desires and things like that, because you know it's like the manly sign, the like, you know, like, whereas the feminine signs think more with their emotions, so then therefore might not be as inclined to sleep around as much. But again, that totally, like, I mean, I don't even like to say that because I totally know many people from both sides that do more than the other. And then I would also say Sag is also, not only is it the masculine sign, it's a mutable sign. Mutable signs have a tendency to veer away from like staying in one place at like in one time, which is why mutable signs might have kind of a bad stigma of like cheating or just like bouncing in and out of relationships. I'll go ahead and cover that. I think I have another question that asks that. But yeah, that's why I would probably say masculine and then mutable, just like not being able to commit. And then on top of it, like the whole like I don't do emotions thing kind of seems to be a common pattern with masculine signs. But again, totally just like going off of stereotypes right now. What else does Taurus like to do other than eat and sleep? They also like to shop and move at an incredibly stagnant rate. And that's about all they like to do. I'm totally kidding. Taurus is just like every other sign, and it really sucks that Tauruses don't get a little bit more attention. They're complex people too. I would just say because like Taurus does rule over like daily human pleasures, like eating and sleeping, of course, is one of those things that like everybody gets so much pleasure off of. And since it's ruled by the cow, which basically, or the cow, it's a bull, but like basically all cows and bulls do is eat and sleep. That's kind of, you know, what like why Taurus gets that whole, you know, like that one definition or that one description where it's like all they do is eat and sleep. But that's not true. It's not true. But again, I can cover some more stuff about Taurus and some more things about them. But I would say Taurus, as far as the things that make them happy, and this is honestly pretty admirable, are things like, you know, little pleasures, like eating a really good meal, you know, having a good amount of sleep at night, you know, maybe spending like a little bit of money on something material. Like those are things that, like, in all honesty, that like the bare minimum should make people happy, you know. Number 7, what is the worst sign? I don't think there is a worst sign, but I will tell you the worst sign to be in 2019 is probably Gemini, because of our POTUS and because people have recognized him as being a Gemini, also carrying some of the worst Gemini traits you can possibly have. And maybe Scorpio, I would say. I just feel like they get a lot of crap. Like it just sucks to be a Gemini or a Scorpio right now. I'm gonna be honest, yeah. But as far as like the hardest sign to be, I would still say Scorpio is a really hard sign to be. They are able to see past people like more than any other sign, and to be able to hold in all of the things that they're thinking and feeling the way that a Scorpio can. I would say that's a very like difficult sign, to really be able to see past everybody. Like, you know, they say blessed are the ignorant. Scorpios are not ignorant. Also maybe like Capricorn would be hard too, just because like Saturn is a hard planet, but I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say there really is a worse sign, but it kind of does suck to be a Gemini right now. What is a square? That is, so a square, that is going to be a hard aspect. So if you look at your chart, which again, I would recommend Cafe Astrology for doing this, go and look at your chart and put in all your information, like your date, time, year, whatever, and look at some of the things in your chart. If you do have squares inside your chart, basically what that means is like, let's say your moon squares your Venus. You might have a hard time figuring out what your emotional needs are and then what your romantic needs are, or like what your material needs are. So then that can make it hard for you to, you know, again, I'm just using one specific type of aspect. That can make it hard for you to figure out exactly or find that common ground, like in a partner, of somebody not only that like you need emotionally, but somebody that you like desire emotionally. So then they can make those types of people like harder to commit, you know, whatever. But anyway, it's a hard aspect. Trining is going to be a positive aspect. Opposition is going to be another hard aspect. Thing is with hard aspects, especially things like a square, because it is the hardest aspect, I would say squares are things that cause you conflict. However, if you're able to rise above your squares, I would say squares are actually a very positive aspect, because, you know, things that cause issues in your life, blocks in the road that you're able to overcome, always end up being, I think, more rewarding than things that just come easily to you. So, number 9, what sign is the best in bed? That's personal preference. I would say look at your Mars sign compared to somebody else's. Geminis and Scorpios do get their stigma on that as well. But I would say, like, look at your Mars. Like, let's say if you're trying to figure out your sexual compatibility with somebody, look at your Mars sign next to somebody else's. And, you know, make sure it kind of falls within, you know, what is stereotypically compatible. So if you are a masculine Mars sign, maybe another masculine Mars sign would be compatible with you. Feminine, same thing goes there. I would say house placements mean kind of a lot when it comes to Mars signs. I don't really know if that one's agreed upon across the board with other astrologers, but I definitely think so, because that is the way that the energy is conveyed. So, like, I could get into this in a different video, but house placements, like first house is going to be Aries, second house is Taurus, third house is Gemini. It goes in the astrological order. So let's say, like, for me, I'm a Mars and Gemini in my 5th house. So I'm a Mars and Gemini, like that is a sign in my Mars, with 5th house, which is Leo properties. So like passion, romance, whatever. So finding somebody that might be a masculine sign, but then also has like a masculine house placement, might work for somebody like me, or like whatever it is for you. So, but you know, there really isn't one that's the best in bed. Gemini. I don't know. Number 10, do people intentionally plan the day that they try to get pregnant so the baby is a certain sign? I know definitely people have, and I feel like I will be one of those people. So why don't Libras like commitment? So it's really funny that somebody said that, because Libra is supposed to be all about commitment. It is ruled by Venus, which is the planet of like partnerships and romance and financial ties, everything that has to do with like real commitment, like marriage kind of commitment. Libra kind of signifies. However, Libra is an air sign. So I don't know. That was one of the things too, whenever I did the like best and worst boyfriend post that I did a couple months ago, where I asked a bunch of my friends and then some, like, to tell me what their best and worst relationships were with people. For some reason, yeah, like Libras were really towards the bottom, and it did shock me. But it is true that like Libras can be really good at like charming you and make it seem like they really care about you. And they might mean it at the time, but they definitely have an issue with changing their minds. So then when you get to that point of like serious commitment, yeah, I mean, especially an immature Libra, it can be hard for them. I would definitely agree with that. Why is Capricorn the worst sign ever? Okay, first of all, Grace, you are my favorite astrologer ever. You've been doing it for much longer than me, so I don't know why you're asking me that question, which, by the way, I'm wearing my shirt too, my Gemini Sun Leo Moon shirt. So I decided to do that in this video because you did it in your last one. Capricorn is not the worst sign ever. Capricorn is probably one of the most admirable and underrated signs ever, so shut up. Number 13, what sign should Pisces stay away from? I don't think there's any sign in particular that Pisces should stay away from. I would just say Pisces should probably stay away from people that, and I would say this for anybody, but especially Pisces, because they do have a tendency to take on the energy of other people. I would say Pisces should stay away from any person that can have a negative effect on them, because Pisces has a little bit harder of a time sometimes of staying away from the crowd, of like looking at, they're with their friend group, the friend group's doing something bad, of pushing themselves, subjecting themselves from it and saying, hey, I don't want to take any part in that. Pisces can very, very easily be controlled by people. And if it is negative people, of course, that's going to make a negative impact on them. So can Virgos just not? Can Virgos just not? I agree. Can Virgos just not? Can Virgo men quit buying 10 different sizes and colors of the exact same shirt? My friend Amani and I talk about this all the time, like going inside Virgo men's closets. Can Virgo men and women just quit complaining about everything? I don't know. Virgo for me is the easiest sign to make fun of. And to be perfectly honest, it's not that I don't like Virgos. I actually do. I feel like I understand them pretty well. But gosh, they are really, you guys, if you are a Virgo, you're really easy to make fun of. But it's okay. Like, good for you for like, your astounding work ethic and all the other things that make you a Virgo, because But can you not sometimes? Number 15, why are Scorpios bad bitches? I don't know, pretty. Why are Scorpios bad bitches? Well, I feel like every sign is a bad bitch. No, I don't know. Scorpios, I would say they probably have more of an inclination to be a bad bitch because Scorpios are determined and Scorpios are really good at harboring in their emotions. A little bit too good at it. In fact, like frighteningly so. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the You Needed Me music video by Rihanna. I know that's very random, but where she like goes into the strip club where the guy is and she straight up just shoots him and like escapes like a baddie. That's like Scorpio right there. Scorpios could literally find out that their partner is cheating on them and just hold it in and just plot and scheme. Whereas for me, being a Gemini, I'm explosive. I could maybe try, but then I would just end up being like, Scorpio! But Scorpios, like, they might be able to hold it in and come up with that exact right moment just to like let it all out. And that's why I think Scorpios might be baddies, for sure. Number 16, why do Cancers complain so much? Because Cancer is a water sign, and water signs do have a tendency to be a little bit more negative than other signs. I'm sorry, but it's true. So Cancers, Scorpios, Pisces definitely might have more of an inclination to kind of stay on the negative side of things, but just like anybody else in the world, they can definitely be positive too. And it's really funny. I've met a lot of Cancers that are a little bit pessimistic, but I've also met very positive Cancers too. And when I met positive Cancers, like they're really positive. But yeah, I mean, I guess it just kind of comes with being a water sign. 17, what's with all the Gemini hate? You know, I've been asking myself the same freaking question since I found out that I was a Gemini and found out that everybody hates us. The reason why people hate Gemini is they say that we are two-faced, gossipy, cheaters, deceitful, and mean. I feel like those are like the most common ones for Geminis. It's like the whole like two-faced thing. And the like, you know, anxious energy and stuff like that. But I mean, in all honesty, just like anybody else, you can control that. Like, just don't talk crap about your friends. I don't know. Okay, number 18. Are Leos as confident as they make themselves out to be? Yeah, I mean, they can be, but oftentimes more than not. This is going to be some Leo exposure right here, which God knows they don't like. If you are a Leo sun, so if you're a Leo, or like, let's say like your ascendant's in Leo, I find it really common that Leos have an issue with like really dressing up an image in order to come across as more confident or more successful or whatever than who they might actually be. Not that they aren't, you know, who they dress themselves up to be, but then I find that they like really embellish kind of what this image that they put out there and sometimes lose themselves in the making of that, so that I think they think like who they are underneath might be disappointing. Okay, like for instance, I live in a very materialistic area. I mean, I live in DFW, and not that people aren't materialistic everywhere, but you know, if you're familiar with like Texas money, I mean, it's kind of, you know, it's very, there's a lot of vanity, I would say, in this area. If somebody does have a like strong Leo, like a Leo ascendant or a Leo sun, especially like living here, is what I've noticed. A lot of them, you know, like to come across as like looking like they have a lot of money. They like to dress very nice, you know, whatever. And let's say like they don't actually have that, like they would feel they feel very vulnerable if somebody were to find out, if not get kind of angry and might like push that person away if they you know, see past this image. They can get so caught up in this image. And again, a lot of the time that image does, you know, exude a lot of confidence. But the thing is, if you are truly confident in yourself, you won't really need to dress up any kind of image. I would say if a Leo is truly confident in themselves, there's no stopping them. Leo is like, I mean, I would say one of the strongest and most positive signs you can be. But that is a really common thing. Like Leos, and again, they can be very resentful of other people if they like one, see past who they truly are, or two, if they like have something that they don't. I don't know. Sorry, Leos. Number 19, are Virgos and Capricorns compatible? This is sun sign compatibility, so I don't want to say one way or the other, because it is like very complex, and you'd have to look at like other parts of your chart. Yeah, I mean, Virgos and Capricorns are considered compatible because they're both earth signs, and you know, in your same element, those are going to be the strongest compatibilities with you, and then your complementing element are going to be also compatible. But again, there's a bunch of other factors. Number 20, why do they say Aquarius and Scorpios aren't compatible? Again, with sun sign compatibility, but the reason why they say those two signs in particular are not compatible, Aquarius and Scorpio are not complementing elements. So Aquarius is air, Scorpio is water. And then Aquarius and Scorpios are also both fixed signs. So that means like stronger energy, more so than like even other like types of qualities that other signs have. So that might mean that they have very strong energy, very strong ways of handling certain things, but entirely different ways of doing it. So that's why they say maybe those would be, it would be harder for them to be compatible. Number 21, what sign is the hardest to understand? I would say probably every sign is hard to understand in its own way, especially if you don't like share it. A lot of people would say Geminis are really hard to understand, but since I am a Gemini, I feel like I can understand them, even though like the whole point of Gemini is the fact that they are just so like inconsistent and can be very like hard to figure out their next move. So I can definitely see why Geminis would be. I don't know. I feel like water signs in general can be really hard to understand because they usually think on a much deeper level. And so when people don't necessarily go to that same level with their emotions, especially if it falls in like a moon sign or something where it really is like your deep and innermost thoughts and emotions, water signs can be really, really hard to understand too. But really every sign has its like complexities. Say probably like Taurus might be the easiest to understand, but like that's not to say Tauruses are easy to understand at all. It's just like the sign and what it represents isn't too difficult to like wrap your mind around. But number 22, I'm a Venus in Pisces. Cool. I guess with a Venus in Pisces, what I'll tell you about that, okay. Hard part about a Venus in Pisces. My mom actually has this placement. My mom has been single my entire life. And when she has told me about the people that she has dated before, including like my dad being one of them, it seems like a Venus in Pisces might have a hard time seeing people for who they truly are, because like Pisces is all about like dreams and like misconceptions. So I have noticed that people that do have a Venus in Pisces, one might have a tendency, kind of like Pisces energy in general, to be sucked into a negative relationship and to not understand their partners for who they truly are. Venus and Pisces might be the kind of person that like sees their partner and thinks like this person is amazing and like oversees all their flaws and like doesn't realize like that they aren't seeing their partner for who they actually are. And it's like amazing, the idea of like wanting to just see past somebody's like flaws and like, you know, just unconditionally caring about somebody. But like I can find that Venus and Pisces gets like sidetracked by that sometimes. But Venus and Pisces in general, it can be very compassionate, very sweet, and you know, and usually pretty loyal with their emotions. Number 23, do a shout out for Aries season. Happy birthday, Aries. I love you guys. My fiery ram people. Again, Aries, actually that's my mom's actual sun sign. So like I grew up with an Aries. I love Aries. Some of my favorite people ever. Happy birthday. And the person that specifically asked me for that was my friend Kinley. So happy birthday, Kinley, on the 3rd. Happy birthday to some of my other really good Aries friends too. You know, happy birthday, Chloe. Happy birthday, Amani. Happy birthday, Mom. Those are like some of my best friends that are Aries. So happy birthday, guys. Number 23, what signs are the best Zaddy? What does that even mean? What signs are the best Zaddies? Why don't you go on seekingarrangements.com, go find yourself a Zaddy and tell me when their birthday is and maybe I can figure it out. I don't know, maybe like Virgos because they like work so hard, or maybe like Capricorns, I don't know. Number 24, what signs cheat the most? Okay, so my favorite astrologer, Grace, who was the one that I addressed whenever I was talking about like why Capricorns suck, which they don't. She actually posted like an article, so I will attach that. I mean, I'll obviously ask her before I post this video if I can attach it to my website, and it kind of nailed it spot on. It's the reasons why every sign cheats, or what would be more specific to the behavior of that sign and why it happens. People that get a bad stigma of it would probably be masculine signs. Masculine signs except for maybe Leo, because it's like the loyal lion, but like Geminis, Libras, Aquarius, not as much Aries, but definitely like Sag. I would say those say that they cheat the most, but like, again, I don't think there is a sign that like actually does cheat the most. I would just really like to think that if you're a decent human being and you are committed to your partner, that you would never cheat on them. And if you do, then I hope a Scorpio finds out about it and kills you. Number 20. Number 25. What is Sag's theme song? I don't know, Sag's, what are your theme songs? There's this like comedian that I follow on Instagram that I like freaking, like, he's so funny, and he does like dating each of the signs. He started at Scorpio, so he's done a Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces and Aries video now. So my sign is 2 signs away. I'm really excited to see this one. And like, he'll do like a little thing at the end. His name is Benito Skinner. Go check him out if you haven't before, because it's really funny. He doesn't just do astrology. That's just probably one of the more popular video series that he does. And he did for Sag. I remember he did like I Can't Be Tamed by like Miley Cyrus, who also is a Sag. And I would feel like that's a pretty good Sag song. I can't be tamed. Sorry guys, I have really bad allergies, by the way. So that's why my voice is really scratchy and I can't sing for shit. So, but Can't Be Tamed by Miley Cyrus maybe. 26, favorite and least favorite traits of Aquarius. Okay, that's a good question, because Aquarius is an air sign, and it's kind of interesting. I have very much a love-hate relationship with Aquarius. I like Aquarius. When I find out someone's an Aquarius, it's usually, I think of like good things, especially like on a friendship level. But okay, my favorite things about them: worldly, intelligent, and curious. They have that like that wanderer's kind of spirit to them, and I find that really cool, which I think kind of ties in with the whole worldly thing. They really like to acquire knowledge from any source that they can. So you would think Aquariuses are very open-minded, right? Well, on the least favorite sides of Aquarius, I would say they can be conceited, especially intellectually conceited, close-minded when they think that they have all the answers to something, and combative. Again, with the whole closed-minded thing. So Aquarius is like a worldly sign. So they do strive to acquire their knowledge and learn from other people and learn from like different cultures. They can be very philanthropic. Like that's what I think of when I think of Aquarius, is like traveling all over the world and like learning from, you know, different people and cultures and things outside themselves to really be able to like form their opinions and thoughts on like things that interest them. But the thing is, when somebody else comes up with another idea that they think counters what they believe to be correct, Aquariuses are like so argumentative, and they can think that like their opinions are like the end all to like opinions. Like if you don't share that same opinion, you're wrong. Like so like, yeah, the biggest issue with Aquarius is it's like they like just not really admitting when they're wrong and just thinking that they're always right. And like that is just, I mean, that's a really like annoying thing, especially like if you're a guy and you think that way. Like, I'm sorry, but like there's gonna be a couple times in your life when you're just gonna have to admit that like your wife is right, even when you don't think that she is, because like, you know, women, we can be that way. But it's like, man, like there comes a time when you're just gonna kind of have to like man up and be like, okay, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. I might not agree with it, but I don't feel the need to like stress my opinion, I guess. And that's something I guess I would say is like a common issue with Aquariuses. So if Aries was a superhero, what would it be? I don't know superheroes very well at all. So I don't know. Maybe Hulk. Yeah, maybe Hulk. Because it'll be like super chill little green dude. I don't know if he's actually ever really chill. But then when he's angry, it's like, Rah! I don't know. But would that be Scorpio too? I feel like Scorpio would be like Batman or something that like lurks in the night. So maybe, yeah, maybe Hulk. What signs make the best moms? That's a good question. I think like any sign could be a really great mom for its own reasons. I grew up with an Aries mom, and she's very protective over me, like most Aries would be, and I was definitely like the center of her universe. I would say like, you know, people would say like Cancers might have like more of those like motherly instincts, because Cancer's all about nurturing, and it's ruled by the moon, which does represent your mother. So like Cancer moms, yeah, I would maybe say that one, but any sign can like be a good mom, and any sign can be a really bad mom too. And then which sign lies the most? I wouldn't say lies the most for any sign. But like the whole idea of like being deceptive can go along with like signs like Scorpio maybe, but I would also say Scorpio is in general pretty like very honest and can see past people. So I would think that would completely be the entirely different definition. But maybe like Geminis kind of get a stigma of lying a lot, and it's not because like Geminis like really lie to you, and I mean I would really like to think that I'm not a liar, but they say that Geminis do because like Geminis like might feel like they're very like if they feel like they're being controlled or like compressed in any way, like Gemini might like lie to get out of it. So then I would say maybe Libras might be that way too. Sag, Leo might kind of, because again the whole like dressing up an image thing, so then it can be like deceiving, and they might like embellish certain things to like detract away from what they want you to actually see. Yeah, let's all just like do each other a favor here and just be honest. I don't know. All right, guys, so that's about as many questions as I'm going to answer in this video. I might do like another video soon where I like talk about like certain aspects. I really need to do another like moon series outside of like fixed sign moon series. So I need to do like the mutables and the cardinal signs. So if there's like any specific thing you want to find out more about, feel free to ask me like in person. And I hope you guys learned something from this video, maybe laughed at some of them. Definitely by far, which sign makes the best Zaddy? That one, that was the best. Actually, going back to that question, okay. Maybe Virgos and Caps because they work really hard. But then like maybe Leos because they're really generous. And maybe Libras and maybe Geminis because they don't form attachments. But then Geminis are flaky. All right, let's just say Virgos, Capricorns, and Leos. Those are the best zaddies out there. Okay, bye guys.